I never thought one sentence could end a marriage, but that is exactly what happened. Not on the day we said our vows, not during the late nights when we argued about bills or chores, not even in the cold weeks when we slept back to back and pretended it was because the room was hot. It ended at a small table in a busy restaurant when I looked at Daniel, the man who had shown up for me for 6 years, and said, "You're not enough of a man to keep me." I said it because I wanted to feel powerful. I said it because I had been scrolling through other people's trips and rings and grand gestures and decided our steady life wasn't shiny enough. I said it because I wanted him to fight for me in some dramatic way so I could feel chosen again. I did not get a scene. I got the quiet that comes after you press send on something you can't take back. He didn't yell. He didn't throw his napkin. He set down his fork and met my eyes the way he always did when I was being unfair, steady and kind in a way that made me feel like a child. He asked, very calmly, "Is that really how you feel?" I was too deep into the moment to pull out. I nodded and took a sip of my wine like I liked the taste. The server came to ask about dessert and Daniel smiled and said we were fine. We were not fine. We drove home with the radio off. He kept his hands at 10 and 2 like he does when it snows, careful and focused. I watched the passing lights smear across the windshield and told myself I had made a point. In truth, I had just drawn blood. He slept on the couch that night. In the morning he made coffee, left a mug on the counter for me, and went to work early. I expected a long text, a plan, a promise, some proof that I still had gravity in his world. I got nothing. When he came home, he asked if we could talk. We sat on the edge of the bed like coworkers sharing a small bench. He said he loved me and wanted to understand what had changed. I told him I felt invisible. I told him I missed the spark. He offered therapy. I called it homework. He said he could plan more dates. I said the problem was bigger than that. He asked if there was someone else. I said no, which was true, but not honest. There was no other man. There was the idea of one, the one who would make me feel like a movie again. Daniel listened and nodded and rubbed his hands together the way he does when he is thinking carefully about the next step. The next step, it turns out, was not a grand fix. It was distance. He started going to the gym before work. He stayed late to help a new hire learn a system. He said goodnight when I scrolled past him on the couch and didn't ask me to put my phone away. He didn't punish me. He let me see what life looked like when his world did not spin around my moods. It was gentler than a fight and harder to live with. I tried to pull him back with old tricks. I took a photo in a dress I couldn't afford and posted it with a caption about choosing myself. He liked it the way you like a sunset you didn't see. I laughed too loudly at a bartender's joke while Daniel paid the tab. He tipped, thanked the man, and asked if I wanted to split a dessert. I said no. I went home and stared at the ceiling and understood that I had said something I could not unsay. 2 weeks later he asked if we could sit at the table and talk. He had a folder with papers I recognized from the time we refinanced the car. He said, "I love you. I will always hope you are okay. But I can't be married to someone who needs me to be someone else to deserve love." He slid a pen toward me. This is not a threat. It's a boundary. I deserve to be with someone who thinks I'm enough as I am. I begged. I said I didn't mean it. I said I was stressed. He listened, and then he said, "You were clear." I'm being clear, too. He moved out that weekend. He packed boxes with calm hands, labeled them in neat print, left the bigger TV because I liked movies more, and took the cast iron skillet his grandfather gave him. On his last night he brewed tea, set the mug by my elbow, and said, "I hope we both find a life we don't have to perform in." Then he kissed the top of my head and left the keys on the hook. The house felt wrong without him. Too quiet. Too neat. I kept expecting to hear the soft drop of his gym bag by the door, the sound of him humming while he chopped onions, the low laugh he saved for something truly funny. Instead I sat with the hum of the refrigerator and my own pulse. I tried dating because that seemed like what a person in my position should do. Men told the same stories with different faces. One bragged about the car he built and asked if I liked bottle service. Another said he was passionate and tried to start a fight with a server over a missing straw. A third called me queen 6 times in the first 10 minutes and asked if I believed in twin flames. I went home, wiped off my makeup, and stared at the empty side of the bed like it was a stage I couldn't perform on anymore. News about Daniel came in little squares and quiet mentions. A photo of him at a trailhead with a group, tan line at his neck, grin easy. A video from a backyard party where you can hear his laugh and see only his elbow. A quick shot of a pot on a stove with bright peppers and chicken, the caption Tuesday. In one picture I saw the back of a woman's head across a table from him. Dark braid, simple gold hoops. Later she was in the frame, not a blur, not the edge, but right there, shoulder to shoulder with him by a lake, both sunburned, both smiling like people who had earned the day. I tried to message him. "Hope you're well," I wrote. No reply. "I'm in therapy and I miss my friend." He responded, "I'm glad you're getting help. I'm not able to be in touch." He kept it clean. No hooks for me to grab. That hurt more than anger would have. Anger gives you a wall to push against. Kindness gives you a mirror. I called from a different number once and he answered because he is a decent man. I cried and said I was sorry. He said, "I believe that. I still need space." Then he wished me a good day and hung up. He did not block me. He simply chose not to engage. That is its own kind of strength. My parents were kind and fair. My mother said, "You can be honest without being cruel." My father asked me twice if I had plans for the weekend, worried I would spend it buried in my phone. My sister, who loves me enough to be blunt, said, "You can be lonely and wrong at the same time." I started going to therapy every week instead of every other. My therapist asked me to list 10 things I liked about my life that had nothing to do with being seen. It took me 3 sessions to fill the page. I learned to cook from the recipe book we never used. I fixed a cabinet hinge by watching a video. I went to a ceramics class and ruined 3 bowls before I made one that could hold strawberries. In May a friend had a barbecue. I almost didn't go. Then I went because hiding was another way to keep the story from ending. Daniel showed up an hour after me with a tray of cut fruit and the woman from the photos. She introduced herself, shook my hand, and asked if I needed anything from the kitchen. I said no and carried my paper plate to a shady spot. Kids ran through a sprinkler and a hot dog fell into the grass and nobody cared. Daniel fixed a wobbly picnic table with a pocket tool. He laughed with our friends. He looked rested. He looked free. For a moment it felt like I couldn't breathe. Then, somehow, I could. He walked over later with a gentle smile and asked how I was. I told him the truth, working on myself, trying to be a person who doesn't say sharp things just to feel a spark. He nodded. I said I'm sorry, and let the words stand by themselves. He said, "I know." He did not add it's okay. He did not offer coffee next week. He was kind and also clear. It felt like a door closing without a slam. I left early, cried in my car for 10 minutes, and then laughed at myself for crying in a driveway like a teenager. On the drive home I realized he hadn't left to punish me. He left to protect himself. He chose peace and built a life around it. I had wanted fireworks. He had wanted a steady flame. He was right. After that I did smaller, better things. I turned off my phone after 10 at night. I called my grandmother on Sundays. I walked without posting the sunrise. I ate dinner at the table and washed the dishes and left the kitchen clean for the morning. I kept a sticky note inside a drawer that says, "Be kind or be quiet." When I wanted to reach out to him, I read it and washed a mug instead. When I wanted to check who liked his photo, I put my phone in another room and went to bed. Some nights I still lay there and hear my sentence in the dark. "You're not enough of a man to keep me." It sits heavy. Then I breathe and let it be heavy until it passes. If you are waiting for a twist where he shows up with flowers or sends a long message about second chances, there isn't one. The twist is that he loved himself enough to leave. He did not try to convince me he was worthy. He decided that he was and walked away. He didn't make speeches online. He didn't gather people to his side. He just kept hiking on Saturdays and showing up for friends and cooking Tuesday dinners and laughing that easy laugh at things that are actually funny. He built something simple and strong with someone who meets him where he stands. I used to think the loudest love was the truest. Now I know the love that lasts often sounds like a checked tire pressure before a road trip, a reminder about your dentist appointment, a cupboard closed a little softer because he knows the bang startles you. That love was in my house the whole time. I called it boring. He took it with him and gave it to someone who knew what it was worth. Sometimes people ask what happened, and I tell the truth without dressing it up. I wanted a movie. He offered a life. I mistook calm for small and noise for meaning. He is thriving. I am learning. That is not a tragic ending. It is a fair one. If I ever find love again, I plan to keep my mouth soft when I am scared and my phone off when I am restless. I plan to choose the steady flame over the spark that burns out fast. I plan to be the kind of partner who doesn't need to be dazzled to stay. Here is the part one never thought I would say out loud: he was enough the whole time. He is enough now, not because he grew louder or richer or bolder, but because he always was. The person who wasn't enough was me. Not patient enough, not humble enough, not smart enough to see gold when it sat quietly on my own couch. I hope he never again has to prove his worth to someone who confuses love with a performance. I hope I never again treat a gentleman like a placeholder while I chase a louder dream. If you need one last picture, it is this: a Saturday morning in late summer. He is at a trail with friends, lacing his boots, smiling at the woman who laces hers beside him. I am at my kitchen table with a cup of coffee that I brewed for myself, a small stack of bowls that I made, crooked but useful. The window is open. A breeze moves the curtain. No one is watching. I am fine. He is better than fine. And that is how the story ends. He chose himself and won, and I learned, finally, to live with the quiet that comes when a lesson sticks and a mouth stays gentle.